Okay, hello. Welcome back to second episode of Star Trek Resurgence. Last episode, we met our two main characters, Jar Rydek and Carter Diaz. Explored the USS Resolute a little bit. This episode, let's get into some. Let's get a little bit further.
The storm is getting worse.
Looks like they turned off the SIF.
Great. Let's get to that emitter.
Slow walking. Nice view.
Every time we're out here, I half expect to see her in pieces again.
Unfortunately, can't really.
She's still got some scars on her. It adds character.
When I joined Starfleet, all I wanted was a ride out of town. But this isn't exactly how I pictured it.
On the outside of the ship?
No.
You don't actually have to
Sometimes it feels like we're just part of the machinery.
walk before you get this scene.
Don't you want more than that? I mean, Starfleet is noble and all, but it's still a machine. A massive, massive machine.
A little bit.
I am more than that. And so are you.
I get where she's coming from.
You wanted to get away. I enlisted because I didn't want to wait years just to get out and see the galaxy. I wanted to go somewhere. See new worlds. Look up at a sky no one's ever seen before.
I like that.
Just because I'm cranking a hyperspanner up in a Jeffries tube today doesn't mean that's all I'll ever be. Diaz to Commander Chovak. We are at the SIF emitter.
Acknowledged. You may proceed with the recalibration.
Seemed to make her feel a little bit better, at least. Yeah, I like that bit about see a sky no one's ever looked up at a sky no one's ever seen before. It's kind of a cool idea. It's one of the cool things about sci-fi, really. And Star Trek. Just the optimism.
Beginning recalibration.
That was easy.
Looks good. That wasn't so hard.
Should mention something. I sort of messed up just a little. I messed up recording the second episode, so I sort of needed to start over. There's no way to go back and sort of redo some episodes or sections that you've done before. The only option is to start fresh. I think I made all the same choices except for one choice in meeting with Captain Solano when he talks about not having a bigger welcome. I said that, yeah, just meeting in the ready room was enough for me. So Solano is reassured by Jara's modesty and leadership potential after the first meeting. And that, I think everything is, all the decisions I made were the same. Itzelar felt inspired by Carter's words of encouragement during the hull walk. Anyway, the real reason I paused was to mention that when I was first doing that little recalibration thing, it actually took me a couple minutes to figure out how I was supposed to do it. Not too long, but it did take me a few moments to figure it out. Should that light be blinking? Is that a good sign or a
Commander
bad sign?
Westbrook, right? Chief Science Officer.
You remembered my name and my rank. Impressive.
Jerk?
Yes, I'm the Chief Science Officer, and I have the dubious honor of being the most senior officer on this bridge. I know this ship inside and out. Better than just about anyone.
What a very impressive list of credentials.
This is a research and discovery ship, first and foremost.
Yep.
Now with a former tactical officer as its new first officer. I'm curious, though.
Could be useful.
A Kobliad, or half in your case, is an odd choice for first officer, given your vulnerable condition and all.
Meh.
But if, as an example, we found ourselves in a hostile situation, and you were suddenly incapacitated because you needed an infusion, what would happen then?
I'm sure that situation won't become relevant.
You'd leave Captain Solano without an XO. Granted, that would be a worst-case scenario, but not outside the realm of possibility.
That's very kind of you to be concerned about my well-being. But you don't need to trouble yourself on my account. I'll be fine.
Well, I wouldn't say I was concerned, just curious, that's all.
And a jerk.
Listen, can I be blunt, Commander?
I see no reason to stop now.
Commander Sutherland, your predecessor, was one of the best first officers in all of Starfleet. His record was impeccable and his reputation was without equal. I mean no disrespect, but the shoes you're stepping into are almost impossible to fill. He was loved by the crew. And he was one of my closest friends. So I can only hope that you'll live up to expectations.
I don't think I could ever replace Commander Sutherland. And it would be a mistake to even try.
That seems to have eased him up a bit.
Seeing as Captain Solano is on the starbase, let me give you an update on this ion storm we're flying into.
Does seem to have cheered him up a little bit. Left with mixed feelings about Jara's suitability as a new first officer after they first met on the bridge. Why do I feel like that's probably the best you can get from him?
It's unusual, unlike anything I've ever seen. At the moment, I can't tell you if the Resolute will shrug it off or if we're putting ourselves at risk. However, if we learn more about its patterns, its nature, we can come up with a scientific countermeasure. Just a moment.
Yeah, red blinking lights or something to keep an eye on.
We've got a massive energy wave inbound.
On screen.
That's not good.
Tracing its trajectory.
Starbase docking clamps are holding.
The storm's emissions are fluctuating, coming in waves. And if my projections are right, we're about to get hit by a wide-band burst of ionic energy, like a tsunami.
I'm reading power abnormalities all over the ship.
Estimated time to impact.
Red alert!
Aye.
I could have let them finish their...
Evacuating main gangway and retracting.
Putting sensor visualization on screen.
I could have let them finish what they were saying, but no time.
With the structural integrity field shut down, we can't take a direct hit.
Time to impact. 1 minute.
Shield systems are severely impacted. We have limited protection.
I need every available solution. What are our options?
We can weaken the impact of the storm with a deflector pulse.
There's a better way.
I'm sending all auxiliary power to the deflector dish.
Send the aux power to the shields. We can't reactivate the entire shield bubble, but it's a directional threat. So we can orient all we have towards the wave. You have to believe me.
We only get one shot at this. We can't afford to get it wrong.
That's right, which is why we need to send power to our shields.
Either one will work, I imagine, but I'm a tactical officer, she's a tactical officer. That's real. Jara followed her advice and chose to erase the shields. Disappointed she chose not to heed his recommendation to use the deflector pulse. Yeah. Plus, she's voiced by Ali Hillis. Yeah, I've still got those warm feelings for Liara, for my girl Liara. So I gotta go with my girl.
Petrosian, get those shields up.
Rerouting power to shields. Stand by. I need a heading. We've only got one shot.
Understood. On my command.
Heading. Getting locked.
Raise shields!
Not totally sure what the point of that one was.
This is it!
All hands, brace for impact.
What happened?
That seemed
We've
bad.
experienced a surge of radiation.
You don't say.
Oh, you don't say.
This radiation supercharged the plasma, forcing it to backflush through the system and creating a dangerous imbalance.
That can blow out every primary system on the ship.
Just tell us where you need us.
I need you to traverse the hull to the access port to recalibrate the port nacelle plasma regulator.
Ooh, more walking. At least we skipped this walk, though.
We've reached the first access point.
Understood. Do you see the override for the level 1 failsafe circuits?
Bit of a glitch here with the what's it? The subtitles cutting out a bit.
Affirmative.
Engage the override.
There we go.
It should allow us to stop the EPS flow to the warp engine without triggering an automatic core shutdown.
Let's hope.
Failsafe override engaged.
Are you sure? I am registering some crosstalk in the bypass circuit.
We need to route the signals so they don't interfere with each other.
Routing ISO. Gotta love how Starfleet technology is based on just moving ships around. Just moving, just moving these things around. USBs. Moving USBs around. Just swap USB ports. Everything works.
Diaz to Resolute. The failsafes are temporarily disabled. Moving on to the EPS regulator.
Heads up, Carter.
What is that?
One of the discharges coalesced.
It's coming right toward us. I'm gonna try to disrupt it with my phaser.
I don't know, is rerouting... Is turning off failsafes ever a good idea?
So we gotta climb up the pylon. Not that there's really an up, but, you know.
This part's actually kinda tough. Some of these do just sneak right up on you. See what I mean? First time when I was doing this before, when I recorded this before, I did take
We're
2
almost
hits,
to the regulator.
which is, you know, you can take 3. Doing a lot better this time. Because I'm moving a bit, and because I know that they will come out of nowhere. So I was being a lot more
We're at the
careful.
regulator point.
But I think
Opening
just
the
got
access
lucky.
panel.
Took no hits that time.
Now halting the EPS flow to the port nacelle. We have little time before it causes an overload in the engine. You must work efficiently.
Only way I know how.
EPS manifold adjusters reset to neutral.
She's got my back. Millie's got my back. did this so much more efficiently the first time around,
The
Got
EPS
it.
lines to the port warp engine are back in balance.
but I managed to do that
Almost
so
done.
much easier the first time.
Once I cycle the manifold nozzles, Chovak can...
No, the paint job! Scratching up our paint job! Scratching it up even more, come on! That seems bad.
Get down! Diaz to bridge. We just lost the docking clamp. We've got a lot of debris coming down. Hull vibrations, too. We can't finish the EPS regulation in these conditions. Please advise.
We have to release the ship from that other docking clamp or the hull will be ripped apart.
There's a problem. The clamps are supposed to disengage automatically in an emergency, but it's not working.
They
Not
never
working.
do.
What are our options?
The docking clamps are fitted with exploding bolts for an emergency release.
We've got crew out there. That'd be like setting off a bomb next to them.
Maybe there's another way.
Starbase is hailing us. Put him through.
Resolute, the remaining mooring arm is failing. You need to disengage from the starbase now. The damage to the station will be catastrophic.
We have crew outside and are looking for the
We have
safest way
people
to...
on this station. If that mooring arm breaks, we could lose dozens of crew.
Fair.
Commander, hear me out. Reverse the polarity of the hull, which theoretically will repel the docking clamps.
And repel the engineering crew right off the hull into the storm.
This is Captain Solano. Put me on screen.
Go ahead. Captain, we have a situation.
Commander, what are you doing? Blow the bolts on the docking clamp.
The captain doesn't know the whole story.
I'm giving you an order. Chara?
Captain, you brought me here because you trusted me. Can you trust me now?
You better be sure you make the right decision.
The captain made himself quite clear.
They're gonna get hammered with debris out there. Reverse the polarity.
There is protocol.
And there are lives.
What is the holdup?
Starbase,
You're right.
stand by. We're gonna flip hull polarity to disengage the clamps.
Yes, Commander.
Repair crew, this is Acting Captain Jara Rydek. Be advised, we are going to reverse hull polarity to free us from the remaining docking clamp. Tether yourself and deactivate your boots on my mark.
I assume
Understood.
that the,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
I assume it works either way.
Grab my hand! I got you.
Thank you.
Plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it.
Very tense. It's done well. It's a very tense bit. Uh-oh. Did I screw up? Maybe not. There you go. Two hands are better than one. 4 hands are better than 2. There we go. These ships are really not designed with safety in mind.
Look out!
That had to hurt.
I got you. Petty Officer Etzelar's hurt and unconscious. I'm gonna have to tow her back to the airlock.
Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. You are at risk of triggering a substantial electromagnetic arc if you approach the main hull the way you came.
But Commander, The way we came is the nearest airlock.
There is an auxiliary hatch near you on the far end of the pylon. You must bring Miss Edsolar there to access the interior.
Roger that. Go in there now.
Yeah, it's sort of. Might as well go through. Yeah, it's nice and tense. Furious, Jara defied his orders and did not blow the bolts on the docking clamps as he instructed her to do. Thought highly of Jara's efforts to explain the complexity of the situation to Captain Solano, relieved when Jara defied Solano's orders and made her own command decision in the moment. Oh, and admired Jara's instincts to protect the crew when Starbase ordered to disengage the docking clamps. Respected Jara's inclination to protect the crew when Starbase ordered her to disengage the docking clamps. Applauded Jara's efforts to explain the complexity of the situation to Captain Solano. Thankful when Jara defied Captain Solano's orders and made her own command decision in the moment. So I won the jerk-ass over. I won the jerkwad over. Glad Jara's first instinct was to protect the crew. Appreciated Jara's efforts to explain the complexity of the situation. Respected Jara's rational approach when she defied Solano's orders and refused to put the crew on the hull at risk. Just surprising considering he was sort of like, there's protocol, you gotta follow the captain's orders. It's a little bit surprised. Did not approve of Jara's unwillingness to follow protocol. Shocking. When she defied orders to blow the bolts from docking clamps. Shocking that he wouldn't appreciate that.
I'm at the auxiliary hatch.
Hey, she's awake. Good to know.
You go first.
What?
Let me save your neck this time.
Nah, you saved my neck earlier.
No time to fight me on this. Get in there.
Not on your life.
Let's not let it come down to that.
It seems to me the hatch should probably just be able to stay open. That's probably not good. And obviously, grateful when Carter put her safety ahead of his own.
We made it.
They're safe, bringing the SIF fully online.
Westbrook
Do it.
does have a heart. On a side note, I kind of like that they just shorten it to SIF instead of saying structural integrity field or integrity field or anything like that every time. Because I suspect on one of the shows they would probably keep calling it structural integrity field. Here they just get away with calling it SIF, which just feels more natural. That is what crew would say. That is what people would say. SIF. They just use the acronym. Because, it's what people do. If they can if there's a way to shorten it, they will shorten it.
Nilly.
I'm good. Help me with him.
Let's get this off.
Ooh, wicked scar.
Medical. Got one wounded at my location. Carter. You don't look so good.
Chicks dig scars, right?
You gotta be more careful. I just got here. I'm not ready to see you two get blown to space dust just yet. Now let's get you down to sickbay.
Great.
Too much pain to snark, I guess.
Status report.
The repair crew made it inside. EPS flow is back to nominal levels. The SIF is back up.
How does this affect mission readiness, Mr. Ermot?
Releasing the docking clamps using hull polarity minimized damage to the Resolute. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time. As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me.
And now for the yelling.
You disobeyed my orders. Well?
Respectfully, Captain, I made the right choice given the information
You
I had.
disobeyed my orders! And not just in front of the bridge crew, but the Starbase staff as well. That's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet. But what is it going to do to my credibility on this ship? From the top to the bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
This is your ship, and you are the captain. I told you whatever you say goes. And I'll do better, living up to that.
I expect as much from you. You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt, but not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
Who cares?
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want to admit. I guess we all are. And, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes.
He probably would have made the same decision.
So, let's just boil it down to you did what you had to. That'll have to be good enough for me.
Thank you for understanding, sir. I'm sure no one knows the burden of command as well as you do.
I'm sure you will, someday. Despite it all, we got our final Starfleet clearance to depart. So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermot, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and then we'll set out for Hotari.
Yes, sir.
Good. Good. Alright. Still had misgivings about his orders being defied, but remained willing to place trust in his new first officer to live up to expectations. So realistically, he probably would have made the same decision. Yeah, his science officer came to him with a solution that would save his crew. He would have. I would hope that he would have gone with the decision that saved his crew. Although maybe not. He does seem to care an awful lot about his reputation, which is concerning. All I ask is a tall ship, and a star to steer her by. Famous poem, and I forget which of the
All
Star Trek.
departments reporting full mission readiness.
I forget which of the movies.
We've
had
got
that.
our full complement on board.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
Captain on the bridge.
Sit, everyone. You all know I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
He's right, that wasn't much of a speech.
Docking clamps released.
Most captains would have
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Handar.
Most captains would have a better speech for that. I do like the design of the ships. Centaur class. I do like the design. Usually the pylons are above the saucer. These ones, the pylons are below the saucer. It's a little bit different from normal Star Trek ships, but Starfleet ships, but I don't know. I like it.
That should do it. Set a course for the Hotari system. Prepare to go to Warp 8.
Aye, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me?
Go with the classic.
Engage.
Had to go with the classic.
Simple, but effective.
Traditional one. Fairly common. So I, have been very, open about really enjoying the modern era of Star Trek. One minor complaint I do have with it, and it is a minor petty complaint. They've made a big deal out of the phrase captains use when going to warp. And, captains figuring out what phrase to use. Warp me, or hit it, or, whatever. Warp Me is from Star Trek Lower Decks, which is a comedic show. Yeah, like hit it for Burnham, and I don't even remember what any of the others used. It is very much a modern Trek thing. Classic Trek was generally engage. Yeah, it's what Picard used, obviously, and it was what other people on Next Generation, whenever you'd see another captain, or someone else in command, they would use engage. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, when Sisko was on the Defiant, he would use engage. I think Janeway often used do it. But modern Trek has sort of gone very much route of captains need their own phrases. And I have to admit, I'm not a fan of that. Like, engage probably became common on Starfleet because it's engage the engines. It's shorthand for, engage the engines. Starfleet is, not exactly military, but it's somewhat military inspired. And, in most of the time in militaries, orders tend to be given in very specific ways for very specific reasons, for ease of understanding. So everyone understands, anyone who's going to be on the helm understands engage. So, yeah. Like I said, go with the classic. Anyway, time to have a seat. And I just tripped
Easy.
sitting down.
Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look so good.
That's probably not good. Iridium monitoring. Yeah, red is
I
probably a
have to
bad
get to
sign.
sickbay.
Go.
No one to help me to the sick bay? Come on.
Commander, help me get her inside!
Come on, no one to help me? Jeez.
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on him, but he'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your duridium levels got dangerously low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief Medical Officer.
I will say, I feel like it would be a good idea for her to keep a hypo of duridium on her. Just a quick injection for emergency situations, just to last her until she can get, a proper injection, proper infusion. Yeah, it just seems like one of those things. Anyway, Dr. Duvall here, voiced by Deborah Wilson, who is pretty cool. She's been around for a little while. She's done a fair bit of voice acting. Fair number of cartoons and video games. She did a few voices in the Loud House movie. She voiced Sarah Junda in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah. A few other jobs here and there. And she seems pretty cool. She seems pretty good, I gotta say.
To be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before. You're
Rare. I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the duridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet and managed to thrive. I imagine the responsibility must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
I know what it means. And I know the responsibility that comes with it. But I can't be anything more than who I am. And if someone has a problem with that, or expects something else, then that's their problem, not mine.
Good answer.
That's exactly right. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks. Not when the lives of your crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career. Breakthrough discovery. The major innovation. Something he can put his name on. But the more the time passes and the further out of reach it gets, the more risk he'll be willing to take.
That is dangerous.
People become blinded by their own ambition. I've seen it happen before.
I hear you. But that's my job, isn't it? To make sure that doesn't happen. And we don't lose sight of the bigger picture.
Which is exactly why I'm so glad you're here. We need you now more than ever. And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
Huh. I guess word travels fast around here.
Yep.
It's a small ship. And everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure's almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of Duridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Understood.
And my work here is done.
I'm sure it won't be an issue. Definitely not going to become plot relevant at any point.
Lieutenant Bedrosian.
I came to see if you were okay. We were all pretty worried on the bridge. No one knew what was happening.
I'm feeling much better. Thank you. It's just part of who I am.
You don't have to explain to me. I understand. I'm just glad you're okay. You trusted me earlier with the shields, and I appreciated that. I want you to know that I have your back.
Thank you.
You can have my friend too if you want. Wow. So out of curiosity, I was curious because their interactions here feel they give vibes. You know? I did check, and it does seem like there's no actual romance between them. But I'm not crazy, right? The vibes are there. Impressed by Jara's sense of responsibility to the crew, and was encouraged to see her thinking independently when she defied Solano's orders. Like, am I wrong? Am I wrong in thinking that there's vibes? Like, she's definitely interested, but Drosian's definitely got a thing for Jara. I'm not...
Now, Carter, the emissions that gave you that burn are quite unusual, like everything else that goes with this storm. That's a combination of hyronolin and lectrazine to counter the radiation effects. That should help speed your healing.
And in the meantime, I've got a cool scar.
She's come by a couple of times to see you already.
Hint, hint.
Be brief.
Solano ships it, or Deval ships it.
It's good to see you awake again. I was starting to get worried. Not that you aren't in good hands with Dr. Duvall. You did take one hell of a shot, though.
Ah, come on. You know you can't get rid of me that easy.
Don't push me, Diaz. You do not want to see me try.
No, nope. I am not getting on your bad side.
I am a formidable enemy.
And you've got such a good
Millie was
side.
looking in on you too, by the way. But since it's just us right now, I had a chance to think about this while I was away. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you.
Very
instead of
tempted
tiptoeing around it.
Very tempted to go
Or
with the bottom
worse.
option.
Leaving it unsaid.
It's okay, Miranda. You can tell me anything.
I know that.
Then come on. Just spit it out.
I'm trying. Let me talk.
Sorry.
What I'm trying to say is, we've been really good friends for a long time. But I got back here and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
Aw, yeah.
Are you sure about this?
They're my feelings. Of course I'm sure.
Well, I just mean seeing me in here after we almost got killed out on the hull.
I felt this way before that, Carter. I like you. And I think there could be something more for us. So, what do you say?
I mean, yeah.
I like you too, Miranda. And I'd like to see where this goes.
Good. That's I was really hoping you'd say that.
Sorry to interrupt, but the patient needs to rest if he wants to get back to his old self.
Of course.
Locked.
I'll see you again soon.
You'll be seeing a lot of me soon. When we do it. Anyway, thrilled to learn Carter's feelings for her tend towards the romantic, and she looks forward to seeing where this relationship might go.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Ionic interference surging, Captain.
Ouch.
Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types.
Gotta rotate the stick here. Why is this? Am I tuning wrong? This seems to be taking a weirdly long time. Jeez. This is just taking way longer than it should. I feel like when I did this the first time, it was pretty much instant. Oh. Oh, come on. How is this? What is going on here? Why can I not fill this out? Am I just going the wrong speed? I think I was just going the wrong speed. There we go. I think I was maybe trying to rotate too fast.
I've located the shuttle.
Opening comms.
On screen.
Shuttle to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering.
That's not good.
Losing.
I can't get it any clearer.
We won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Power up the tractor beam. We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Sir, even though he's just, even though Galloway's just, is it Galloway? Calloway. Even though Calloway's just an ensign, because, Diaz is a petty officer, he's still outranked by the ensign.
Come on, Diaz. First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation.
Obviously. There we go. Excelsior.
We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it.
Get out of the way. Get out of my space. Easy enough.
That's gonna take out the shuttle.
That's
Diaz the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Rydek, plot an intercept course.
On it.
Quick enough.
Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17, 200 meters on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
I feel like they probably could have figured that out quickly enough.
Got it.
Whoa! Someone's working hard on the bridge.
First time I did this, I had a really hard time with this part. Okay, I don't know what happened there. First time I did that part, pulling the ship in, I had a hell of a time. It kept getting hit by an asteroid. It took me like 5 tries to get it right. I think because I was just doing it too slowly, which is sort of why I tried to slow it down a little bit there at one point, just to show what happens. I mean, basically, it's just like, shuttle was destroyed. Try again. You can try again as many times as you want. If you fail often enough, it does actually switch to a sort of a story mode, where I think it just like takes pity on you and does it lets you do it automatically. I didn't need the pity mode this time around though. Good on me.
We got the shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
And now to see who our mysterious diplomat is.
Terra firma, so to speak.
Ambassador Spock?
Yep. It's Spock. Because it's a Star Trek
Captain
thing.
will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Because Spock's always got to be there, I guess. Gee, not awkward at all.
Well, let me be the first to say, welcome to the Resolute, Ambassador.
Thank you, Petty Officer...
Carter? Carter Diaz. Sir.
I am pleased to meet you, Petty Officer Carter Diaz. It appears I have you to thank for my safe arrival.
May as well mention here, Spock. This game came out well after Leonard Nimoy had died, of course. So they didn't get Leonard Nimoy for this. Instead, they got Piotr Michael, who does seem to have done a few fairly interesting things as well. Seems to have mostly done relatively minor roles for the most part before this. Did a bunch of voices on The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle from 2018. Oh, he voiced the Rufus hologram in Bill and Ted Face the Music. So that's a fairly, like, I haven't seen that movie, so I don't know how prominent the hologram features it, but that's probably a pretty big deal. So, yeah.
Your assistance arrived not a moment too soon, if I may say so.
Well, it wasn't all me. I got some help from upstairs.
A bombastic approach to clearing debris. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space.
Impressed by Carter's skilled use of the tractor beam to rescue his shuttle. And he was left with the distinct impression Carter is a team player.
But it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable. So we attempted a short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
Well, this storm is one of the strangest phenomena we've ever encountered. It's disrupted other systems. Who knows what it might do to a warp drive?
Yes, it would seem further investigation is called for.
I will say, Michael does a really good job as Spock. He does sound a lot like older Spock. So yeah. Very impressive voice work that he does. Also, possible indications of maybe indications of possible sabotage for his mission.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical, Petty Officer Diaz. Thank you.
Ambassador Spock.
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind.
I'm sure Spock feels the same way. And Diaz is happy to have had a conversation with one of Starfleet's greatest officers.
Ambassador Spock, my senior staff. It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past.
Oof.
You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
Your experience comes from the past. But our present situation calls for it.
True enough.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details.
You're welcome, Captain.
We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Elydia and Hotari. Elydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the Hotari over a century ago. This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Elydians have shared a mining operation there. The Elydians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Elydians from their system. That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
As you know, never believed the official story. That was one of the first things we're actually told in the Mass Effect trilogy. Joker says, only an idiot believes the official story or the official explanation or whatever.
What are the Hotari defensive capabilities? Do they stand a chance to hold on to the mines now that they've taken them?
Thinking them like
It is unlikely the relatively
officer.
primitive Hotari forces would prevail against the Lydian fleet in open war. But it would have been equally unlikely to predict they could take possession of the mines until they did just that, which leaves many unanswered questions. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
That is correct.
We can call it profitable or mutually beneficial, but at the end of the day, the Hotari are still being exploited for their own resources.
True peace is not merely the absence of war. And as such, this conflict will surely come again.
Neither the Elydians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Bedrosian on that. I mean, that's exploitation. The Hotari are being exploited. Their moon, their resources, and the Elydians are coming in like, no. You do the work and we take a cut. I'm with so far, I'm kind of siding with the Hotari.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Elydians as a source of dilithium.
Oof.
That certainly changes things.
The Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
So we've already played a part in this.
Unfortunately, that is indeed the case, Commander Rydek.
We're morally obligated to make this right.
Hold on. Our only obligation is to negotiate the peaceful resolution of this conflict.
Given the Federation's involvement in the Elydium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the Ion Storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Elydian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past. But they have never been observed on the orders of magnitude we have seen in recent weeks.
That may answer why the Hotari were able to strike back after so long. They finally had an opportunity, and they took it.
That would also explain the Elydians' restraint.
And reason to learn as much about the energy anomaly as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught at a disadvantage of our own. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes. where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
A little bit of an unorthodox approach from Spock. He did learn elements of cowboy diplomacy from Kirk. So notice Jara's keen intellect and unique insight into the dynamics of the Hotari-Eledian conflict during the mission briefing.
She certainly goes her own way. Maybe that helps in this case. It would be unconventional, but I'm not opposed to it.
I'm perfectly happy to work outside the lines.
And by extension, you will be doing your duty, Commander.
Just not too far outside the lines.
Indeed.
Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
Also note Jara's positive attitude when presented with her back-channel mission.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend on it.
So, no pressure. And we finally have our plot. Which makes this the right time to end the episode. Right when we get into the actual story. Right when we know find out what the actual plot of the game is going to be. It takes like 2 hours to find out what the actual story is. That's funny. Anyway, I suppose it's not uncommon. So yeah, some good stuff, some more good stuff, some nice tension with the whole storm hitting the ship and Diaz and Nili, Etzelar, Diaz and Etzelar being stuck out on the hull during that storm, and nice tension. Lets you make some, forces you to make a couple of tough decisions. And Spock, kind of cool getting meeting Ambassador Spock, one of Starfleet's greatest. And so, yeah, I am still enjoying it. And hopefully this episode recorded properly, so I don't need to do this a third time. And yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in episode 3. See you then.